Oh shoot, we didn't mute. What's going on? What's going on, man? Sorry y'all didn't hear me. It's your boy Ryan Fraser, the building boxing talk up north. And we back with the recap show, a quick recap video of the weekend and my opinions pretty much. And I want to get y'all opinions and comments in the below. Make sure you drop a like for the video so we can get the algorithm popping and get the people to see us, man, so they can come and join the lives. We get the conversations going, join the community. And we had a good weekend. We won some bets. So if it's your first time here, make sure you smash that like button like Ann Wolf,
Did
y'all.
not really fight her.
Oh, big right hand. One punch. That is it. Forget about the count. It is over.
Yeah, not a lot of like crazy fights, not a lot of fights that I'm like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna say it, not a lot of meaningful fights, but definitely we got a lot of action, a lot of boxing, and a lot of things are going forward. Like we're gonna start here. I shouldn't say here. I would say in Las Vegas, Nevada, the USA. Um, Sebastian Fundora versus Cordell Booker. Shout out to Cordell Booker for getting his shot. You know he's been asking for it, and I'm just happy he got the opportunity to get in there and try to show us could he win a world title. Now it was a tall task. You know, Sebastian Fundora, 6'5", 6'6", at 154 pounds. He's like a unicorn. You know, the dude is just he's hard to beat because of his size, man. You can't really train for it. It's one of those things that you just got to go in there and try to, I want to say do it on the do it on the job, but like you got to go in there with a game plan of I'm gonna chop this guy down, but it's like it's way harder than than I'm even saying, right? You know what I'm saying? It's easy for me to sit here and say that you got to go do that, but to actually go and put it all together with somebody who, like I said, you can't train for, because I think he's the tallest guy in the division. I think he's the tallest champ in that division ever. So you're not gonna find anybody that's 6'6" at 154 pounds just walking around with elite boxing skills. So shout out to Cordell Booker for getting in there. He had some success with that right hand early in the fight. And I've always said Sebastian Fundora, he's gonna have trouble with looping shots. If somebody can get in there and connect and hurt him, that's your best opportunity. But if he can keep you at a bay with that jab, it's gonna be a long night. It's gonna be a long night getting around those arms, getting around that reach. But Sebastian Fundora definitely winning the fight, stopping Cordell Booker, retaining his WBC and WBO title. He's now in talks, I guess, with Xander Zayas as the WBO mandated that fight. We'll see where they go. We'll see what happens. As we know in boxing, anything can be mandated, but it's up to the teams. These days it doesn't matter what the mandates say. There's always somebody that's out here saying, "Well, belts don't matter," or this is a bigger money fight, so we'll go over here. So we'll see what happens with Sebastian Fundora and Xander Zayas. I think it's a great matchup. I think it's a good matchup with two young guys in the division. Obviously, we're high on Xander. We've seen Top Rank develop him. It's probably that time for him to fight for a title. If not, fight one of the other bigger names in the division. But Sebastian Fundora, I think that's a good fight for Xander. I think Fundora and Zayas is a interesting fight. I'm not sure who I'd pick to win, but we'll see if they go that route, because that would mean Xander either have to cross over to the Amazon Prime with PBC and do it on their network, or Top Rank and PBC got to work together to make a joint broadcast for that. And I just don't know if that's a big enough fight where you can do it. You know, now this is why I talk about mandates and them not being, you know, um, people don't really look at them the same way, because these guys all look at money. That's all these promoters look at, and some of these fighters, it's just about money. So I mean, if the logistics don't add up for the promoter, they're definitely not going to cross the street, or they're going to put barricades in the way. So these are things that frustrate the fans like me, because I have no interest in that. I don't make money off these guys. I don't get nothing out of it. None of that money go to my pocket, whatever the promoters or logistics are talking about. And for the matter, I don't even know if it's a huge difference, right? I'm not in those rooms. I don't see those pocketbooks, so I don't know if it's a big enough difference for them to be making this type of fuss about it. But if it isn't, it just makes you wonder how greedy these people are in boxing. But this is boxing, man. This is where we're at. It's the wild wild west, so it's one of those sports that everybody's just out to get their own dollar, and then jump on out or move on to the next thing. But yeah, other than that, we had Elijah Garcia. He looked pretty shaky in his comeback fight since his loss to Kyron Davis last year. He got dropped early in the fight by Gershey. Shout out to Gershey, former Olympian, I believe. Put up a hell of a performance. I thought the scores were a little too wide. I did think Garcia, after the early knockdown, did pick up the pace, and I do think he edged the fight out. But I just think they didn't give Goucher any credit. What I'm saying, they didn't reward him for the work he was doing, and that's a shame. Because he's a good fighter, man. We can't be doing these bad decisions, and I think these scorecards, they need to be justified. It's starting to get out of control, man. We getting these wild scores, we getting these wild judging, getting wild refing, and they get to go back and walk, and they ain't gotta say nothing to nobody. And then the worst part about it is you got an inspector there from your sanctioning body. The inspector's not saying nothing, or the inspector's trying to blame the commission. You got the commissioner there, and it's like, yo, everybody's just pointing fingers back at each other, so there's no real answer. And then the fans are just like, yo, this is bogus. The casual fans who are watching, they're like, yo, what the hell is this? But this is why we don't watch boxing. You just get all that type of negative energy from the fight, and it doesn't move the sport. It just moves the sport back a bit. So I mean, I don't understand it, but I do think certain people need to start getting account. Like, we need accountability in boxing more. We're never gonna get it, man. Like, y'all don't if y'all don't know already, this sport this sport is definitely not like your regular sports. Not like the big four for sure. There's no fighter PA. There's nobody speaking up for them. There's no union. There's no way they could walk out. You basically an independent contractor, and then when you're signed, you sign to them people. So your likeness is signed. So it's a rough sport, man. That's for sure. And we also had Jesus Ramos come back. He had a fight earlier. I think he fought on the David Benavidez card, so he jumped right back in against Scrum. I think it was Scrum from Pro Box, I believe, who had come in last minute as a replacement. I'm not sure who Ramos Jr. was supposed to fight, so that was a good fight for him to stay busy. I think Ramos, he's fought in twice before. Lubin's fought in once, which is crazy to me, but shout out to him for getting the activity in. This is what you need to do, especially in a division like 154 where there's a lot of good fights. You want to stay active so your name gets called for the big one. And Ramos Jr. is doing that as he stopped Scrum, got him out of there. Ref stopped it. That's what he needed to do. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of these fights were just get him out of there, stay busy. But it was good for me. Like, it was a free weekend of boxing. It was good straight from like 5 in the morning as we go overseas to Australia. Actually, before we go overseas, shout out to my guy from Canada, Joseph Brown, Mayweather Promotions fighter. He was on the prelims of that Sebastian Fundora and Cordell Booker card. He scored a knockout in, I believe, the fifth or sixth round stoppage, against another undefeated fighter. Shout out to him. I think he improved to 5-0. The kid's it, man. He's got the goods at 154. He's gonna continue to grow, continue to get his skills up as he moves through the Mayweather team, Mayweather Promotions now with Richard Schaefer. We'll see how they move him, man. I'm excited for the kid, man. He's always been a good fighter, good kid to talk to, man. Very humble. And if you guys watching, go watch him on Instagram. Real Joseph Brown. He's a talented fighter, man. Real talented fighter at 154 there. So shout out to him, man. I love to see it. I watched it on the Mayweather Promotions IG fight. They had it live because it was an earlier fight, and he looked good, man. He looked slick. So shout out to Joseph Brown, man. Salute, brother. As now we head across the pond, Australia. If you were up early in the morning, you got to witness. I was up early. I had to work all weekend, so I was up early in the morning, and it was kind of like that was the fight. I was waiting on was Sky Nicholson, Tierra Brown. I picked Tierra Brown to win. I got greedy on one of my lines, man. I picked it with a knockout. If I just picked a money line like I did on my others, we would have cashed out $130. But instead, we cashed out. I cashed out 65 just off the money line, and I had a few other picks with it. Y'all could go check out the channel. I dropped the picks. Um, Basically, man, if y'all get in Discord too, I dropped the picks in the Discord. Um, Basically, I just thought this was nothing against Sky Nicholson's boxing skill. This had nothing to do with that. This was just I didn't think she would stand and show some dog, show some like inside fighting. Like I think Sky Nicholson lacks inside fighting. She likes to counter with the one hook, like the right hook, I think it is. When you're coming in, she likes to hit you with the right hook. And I said, man, if Tierra Brown could even catch it, she don't even gotta like make her miss. Like just catch that hook and return fire. Sky Nicholson's gonna be in trouble all night because she's gonna be on the back foot. And Tierra Brown just gotta outwork her at that point because Sky's gonna be throwing ones and twos. Like she's not throwing any combination punches. And that's exactly how the fight. Like I was pissed off with the commentary team because they gave Tierra Brown no credit. You know what I'm saying? They were acting like Sky Nicholson was winning this whole fight, and I don't even see how that's possible, man. Like this girl was landing like maybe like her probably best round was landing like 7 punches. Like she wasn't landing nothing. Like she was throwing them hooks, missing, or landing on the guard. And when it lands on the guard, man, I'm just like, I'm at that point. I'm like, if you're throwing ones and twos and you're landing on the guard, you're not doing nothing. But if you're throwing a lot of punches and you're landing on the guard, some of those punches are getting through. Like if you're throwing threes and fours, yeah, two and three might land on the guard, but that fourth is landing somewhere because you're gonna see an opening. Um, Sky didn't throw enough punches for me to even think that. So the commentary team would have had you convinced that Sky Nicholson was winning that whole fight, and I was worried that Tierra Brown was going to get robbed. But shout out to the judges; they got it right. Scored it. I think split decision for Tierra Brown, and yeah, she goes in down under and gets a win, and she actually rolled her ankle in the fight too. So I wonder how that played a part. Like if it was just one of those things where it's like a quick tweak or if she actually hurt herself with that because I would like to hear what she got to say because she never really spoke on the ankle, or at least I never seen anybody say she spoke on the ankle. But if you guys got to watch the fight, you would have saw she was in the ropes there, and it was almost like her leg gave out on her, like she looked very what I'm saying, awkward, and it looked like a bad fall. But shout out to her for getting up and continuing the fight, continuing the pace. And that's what she needed to do. She couldn't get into this. You can never get into this whole fight with Sky Nicholson of like backing her up and not punching. Like if you're not moving behind something, Sky's gonna counter you. Like she's gonna see you. You know what I'm saying? But when you're putting something in her face, a jab, and that's another thing. Tierra Brown took away Sky Nicholson's jab. It was absent. She took that away. That was a huge part of the game. I don't know if that was a game plan thing, but yeah, Sky had no jab. She had no jab, so she couldn't keep Tierra Brown off of her, and that was the problem. And Tierra Brown, shout out to you for pushing the pace. That's not easy to do against somebody who can move around the ring like that. So for you to keep that up for 12 rounds, and just keep fighting no matter what, good round, bad round, that's what it takes to be a champ in this boxing game. That's the heart of a champion. So shout out to Tierra Brown, much deserved win over Sky Nicholson. And this is no bash on Sky Nicholson. I think she can come back and win. I think she can take a couple tune-up fights, but they really need to focus on the inside game with Sky Nicholson. And it's not even like she can't develop it. It's more of like does she have the confidence to stay in the kitchen and not trade, just stay in the kitchen and hit and move around to where you're not being hit, clipped. You know what I'm saying? Because I think if she could develop an inside game, then we'll see her like flourish. Like she'll be almost a complete fighter because now I think with the inside game, you have the confidence to throw punches because now you're like, yo, I can mix it up if I need to because of my abilities and what I could do defensively allows me to mix it up. You know, allows me to get closer, allows me to land more. You know, those things come hand in hand when you can do it. But obviously, it won't come overnight. She'll need probably, I think, 2 fights to try to work on it. If they could do it, if they're just gonna say, no, we don't want to do that, then I just like I'm not a pro expert coach or nothing. I'm just speaking off opinion, y'all. So don't be like, yo, this guy think he a pro. Nah, none of that. I'm just saying like her activity, like punch count, need to be much higher for her to be winning those championship fights. That's all. I think like, Scott Nicholson has got skills. I think she's good. I think she can fight. But we just need more punches. And to punch more, you're gonna open up yourself a little bit more. So that's why I say she needs inside fighting, because if you open up yourself, then at least you have the defense to back it up, right? So yeah, shout out to all of them in Australia. Shout out to George Kambosos for getting a win. That's a good Shanika Johnson. She got a win. I think she stopped her opponent in the rematch. Shout out to all of them, man, the champs out there. It was a good weekend of boxing. And then shout out to Lester Martinez on the Pro Box card for getting the stoppage. Pro Box, as we know, they stepping up, man. They doing their thing. They're on Saturdays now. Yeah, I loved it when they were on Wednesdays, man. I don't know if we're gonna get that again, but shout out to them because they still bring boxing. They moving around now. They're taking the show on the road, so that means they're growing. If you moving around, now you growing. So shout out to Pro Box, Overtime Boxing. They were also on. I watched them too. Shout out to Kurt Scooby, even though my man's in there. He didn't like what I said about Lucas Spotty, but yo, man, I just got to keep it real. But you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the whole boxing scene. Shout out to everybody who's fighting this weekend. Y'all did y'all thing, man. I ain't got nothing bad to say about y'all. We won money this weekend, and we got another weekend of boxing coming up. I would say obviously Michaela Mayer and Sandy Ryan's probably the big one on my bill, just because I know that first fight was good. Second fight would probably be better, and obviously there's another rematch too. So this is a weekend of rematches. William Zepeda versus Tevin Farmer. So you got a lot of rematches going on this weekend. Not sure how they're gonna go just yet. I think I'll have my more understanding on Thursday when I see him at the press conferences, or Friday. But shout out to Tevin Farmer because he's going down to Mexico to fight Zepeda. That's not an easy task, bro. And shout out to Sandy Ryan and Michaela Mayer. Their fight is so good because of T.O. dropping that date that they got to fight in Las Vegas now. So, New York to Las Vegas, not too bad, not too shabby. So shout out to them. And Brian Norman Jr. will be making his return. Obviously, he had that injury late last year, which forced him out the November fight. I think it was November he's supposed to fight Cuevas, but he's back. So hopefully he can get a stoppage. And then yeah, Tevin Farmer and William Zepeda. Those are the big fights next week. So yeah, drop your comments, man. Let me know how y'all did this weekend and looking at the fights, what y'all like to see. Who you want to see Lester Martinez fight next? He is at 168. And yeah, man, if anything else, y'all just drop it in the comments, man. Make sure y'all smash that like button and come check the boy out. We going live probably, Tuesday night for sure. But I'll see what I can do tonight, man. I might go live tonight, yo. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Yeah. What? I will slap you if you don't move this car. I'm gonna slap you. I'm gonna slap you. Okay.